So how was your experience at PhD there?
My PhD was absolutely fantastic. I mean, one of my best time in my life was my grad school, which is also why I'm very vocal on Twitter when people go through such a painful process in grad school, is because I would not like, I mean, I've gone through my own, sort of tribulations and trials in science with few labs. But PhD is a long journey, 5-6 years. And again, it doesn't mean you still go through depression. It's not like very good mentor, everything good. Still, the thesis is the kind of a work that will depress you at some point. It's like winding up is always a pain, irrespective of how great a mentor you have. So your stress level, depression is not necessarily a reflection of your mentor. That is one thing that I learned, because despite all good support, good friends, good, no pressure, I went through stress in the last phase of PhD. But my mentor was very open. John never checked when I walked into the office or walked out of the office. He himself was a very busy person. Most of my meetings were over lunches and dinners and, or over food, because he was such a busy person. We had lab meetings, but, it was not very stressful for me in many ways. So I think overall, I mean, and he's not a very hands-on kind of a advisor, but we did fieldwork together. He taught me the main things that is truly required for me at that time was required as a botanist. But so he told me this is to be done XYZ in this particular format because of XYZ reasons. But he also allowed me the freedom to modify that XYZ into X1, Y1, Z1, because this is how I want to do it, type of thing. So you will see, and interestingly, I'm assuming my lab is also like that I tell them this is how I'm supposed to, this is a good way. There are students who will follow it to the T, and then there are students who will modify it slightly. And the reason this is because I think that's what a mentor is supposed to be. The way I collect plants, the way I number them, the way you'll see the metadata I collect, you will see the signature of my mentor in it, because that's just the way we are. At the end of the day, he is my academic parent, and we do reflect, so we do get that. So my PhD experience was fantastic. In US, what I really liked, which I always recommend for anyone who has a choice between US and UK or Europe, and nothing against the other colonial countries, but US, the education system is fantastic because of the 1 or 2 years of coursework that you're going to do. The coursework is hell in the sense of pressure. Lot of classes, very, very strict, grading is crazy, everything, all that is that. But I took courses in my PhD that in subjects that I actually knew I was not going to use it in my PhD. But I took those courses because I wanted to sort of migrate to a different subject for my postdoc.
Can you name some?
So one of them is plant systematics. Yeah, so I was doing ecology work for my PhD, but then I took systematics. I took a lot of biostatistics course. And then I took evolutionary courses, although I was doing evolutionary ecology and not hardcore evolution. I took genomics courses. I did not do any genomics in my PhD. But I think what the US PhD allows is to sort of, open up that, what I call it is you open you prop a door open a little bit. So that just in case if this is not what you want to continue in your postdoc, you have some background that you can take for your postdoc. And this is something I also think that, just because you did masters in one subject doesn't mean you have to do PhD in that subject. Just because you did PhD in one subject doesn't mean you have to continue in that for postdoc. And this is something that not many people tell you in science. But then at the end of the day, if you accidentally switched, then they'll be like, oh, you're a very sort of, interdisciplinary person. I was like, no. No one told me I could be interdisciplinary. I became interdisciplinary because of accident most of the time. In Indian PhDs and also in Europe and UK, coursework is just sort of a kind of a small sort of, what is the word I'm looking for? It's a ritual. You do it because you have to, because the academic institution wants formalities of some kind. But we don't. I mean, I think in the US it's very strict and I really like that part about it. And yes, you lose time. Mm-hmm. So if you compare the PhDs, right, you will see, and when you come for job application, you will see in Europe PhD will be younger than the US PhD, because US PhD is longer, therefore 6 years. and European PhD is 4 years. And the way, unfortunately, we Indians think is like, jo bhi jaldi ho jata hai, acha hai. And my thing is, what's the rush? And yes, again, in job applications, you'll suffer, but really, at the end of the day, you should do what you want for yourself, like for your science, your growth in science. And this argument I've heard from many people to my face saying that, oh yeah, you started your career late because you went to the US for PhD. I was like, yeah, it does hurt me. Like in the awards, you're older, and so I miss all the awards and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I still remember my grad teaching, the classes, my courses. It's like, yin and yang. I mean, it works out.